Happy Friday, guys. Welcome in here to PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. I am Andrew McGinnis. I've got Carmine Bianco and Mr. Andy Lang joining us here today on this Friday to break down three great games. We'll also have best bets at the end of the show, prop sides, totals, and Carmine's 6 in 60 segment, where he'll take a look at some games for the Saturday slate across the league in the NHL. Might be a small slate here, guys, but some good games as the Vegas Golden Knights go head-to-head with the Rangers, Panthers, Penguins, and the nightcap being the LA Kings and the Colorado Avalanche. Look forward to hearing what the boys have to say about these games. Let's not waste any time. Let's go to Carmine for the MSG game here as the Rangers host the Knights. What do you think here, Carm?
That stuff's not good for your body, Andrew, that MSG. But listen, this is an interesting game, and it is just because I want to see the goalies prior to what my lean could be. But I'm going to talk about you got the Rangers first off a 4-game West Coast trip. Wasn't the best trip for them. But first back, Shesterkin is confirmed, but it's more about the Vegas Golden Knights. We saw Aiden Hill come back. He was peppered with like 42 shots against the Islanders, but 40 saves in his the first game back. And it's the second game for Aiden Hill I'm more interested in, whether he starts tonight or he starts tomorrow. So it's back-to-backs for Vegas. They're in New York tonight, and then their last game before the All-Star break will be in Detroit tomorrow night. And this is the first of, like I said, it's the first of a back-to-back for them. I think the Rangers are the right play here. They've had a couple days off since that trip, and the Rangers are a good team. They're just in need of a win. They came out absolutely flat in that game in Vegas. It was over before it had even started in that game. I was on the Rangers in that one, and I turned it off because I said they're done. I didn't expect the Rangers to play as bad as they did against the Knights. So a small measure of revenge. And then we've got players missing for the Vegas Golden Knights. I get it. They're playing well. Uh, they're stringing together some wins, but you see when a team comes at them, and you look at some of their games the Vegas Golden Knights have played over the last 5 or 6 where they put together a nice little run. It's when they play against a team with multiple offensive weapons on the team is where they struggle. The one in New Jersey where they blew the lead, and Logan Thompson, he's given an early lead, and then he just gave up 3 quick ones. He didn't look good in goal. If he's in goal tonight, I'm definitely on the Rangers. If it's Aiden Hill, I likely look to the under in this game instead. So those are the 2 ways I'm going to play it. So I'm not hedging any bets. I'm literally telling you, if it's Logan Thompson in goal, I'm taking the New York Rangers. If it's Aiden Hill, I am taking the under in the game. There's the only 2 ways I will play this game, and I'll toss it to Andy for his thoughts.
Yeah, we've talked about some of these guys to play not to have points, but I've really enjoyed the under 1.5 points. Andrew, we talked about Gensel for Pittsburgh. He's not getting over there, but one for this game is Panarin. This is a guy who has gone under this 1.5 points in 8 straight games, and he's only hit this 40% of the games this season. You're looking at a price at minus 165. It's kind of teetering on that range if you might have to put it with something else. But this is a team that's just not scoring a lot of goals. 2 against Sharks, 1 against Kings, 1 against Gold Knights. They did have 5 against Anaheim. But when I'm looking at the trend, this is a guy that's hit this in 40% of his games this year, but a lot of them came in the first part of the year. And if you play this every night, you're going to be up ahead, especially if you've been playing it recently. His trend is to the down. Getting 2 points is just really, really hard night in and night out, especially when we're in the middle of the season and you've got wear and tear and you've got other guys stepping up and you got a tough matchup. So anytime I can find these guys that they're priced at 1.5 points and they got a tough matchup, the value's always going to be on the under in this one. So it's minus 165. There are plenty of parlay pieces. I've already seen a couple people in the chat talk about some parlay pieces. This should absolutely be one of them. Minus 165 on a guy that's on a cold streak is my best bet in this game.
Unless your first name is Nathan and your last name is McKinnon, I'd say it's a good bet to go under 1.5 points. Great stuff there with Panarin. Yeah, Panarin, the funny thing is he's actually having a pretty good season, but he just seems to be satisfied. Gets that 1 point, he's good. Get the under 1.5, you get that price. And I think that's a good price for it. I'll be following along with that one. And you guys, for me, I'm just looking at the Rangers here to get it done. But you guys know what I'm doing. I'm sticking to it. Hasn't been the best team totals week for me, but I'll stick with it. Go over 3.5 at a nice plus 115 price here. Don't really like that price on the money line that I'm seeing here in this one. So you can get, minus 155 favorite, 150 into a plus 115 for them to reach 4 goals. To me, that's something that's certainly worth it. And when you've got your coach pretty much saying that you look like a beer league team, you look like you were out there just for a morning skate, that's not really something you want to hear. That's what the Vegas Golden Knights heard after their game against New Jersey. I mean, that's as old school as it gets for your coach to say you look like a beer leaguer out there. But they follow it up with a game against the New York Islanders. But I think that defensive game against the Islanders is a little bit hidden. Because, guys, this Islanders team that they played ranks 27th in the league in goals for per game. So it's not like they're anything to write home about either. I feel like this Rangers team over the last handful of weeks, when they've had success offensively, it's been an outburst. When they don't perform well offensively, they're losing lower scoring games. But I think this is a bounce back opportunity here. The Golden Knights are 1-8 their last 9 road games. They're struggling. And Carm, great stuff there with the goaltending information. I will be following along with it just like yourself. But I think my favorite play in this game would be the New York Rangers team total up and over 3.5. And they're off that disappointing game, against San Jose, where it's of course it's off a road trip, and that's important to mention. But to me, the time you catch a team flat is off a satisfactory road trip, not one that you're going to be upset about and that you went 1-3 in. So to me, I feel like it's a good opportunity to get a highly motivated Rangers team against a Vegas team that it seems like they're back to year one here, Carm. This Vegas team just right now plays like a whole different team at home versus how they play on the road.
Yeah, and listen, and it's been mentioned before, and even I think I even saw it in the chat. The Rangers are very good at home, but they struggle a little bit on the road. And I get it. They're normally I'm the guy who wants the faded team on the first back from a road trip, and especially a West Coast trip. But they've had a couple days back. The Rangers are actually 7-4 this season with 2 days of rest, which they're on today, heading into this one. An average of 6.09 goals scored per game over those 11 games that they've had 2 days of rest. We'll see what happens tonight. They're averaging a little over 3.5 goals, team total goals at home this season. And as I said, they're a very good home team, Andrew. So I do like that team total as well. I'm with you on that one.
And I'm just hoping that we get the Rangers that we saw earlier last week then versus the Rangers we saw against the San Jose Sharks. And I'm putting a PSA out there, guys. And this is more so for me telling myself, because I like to be very open on the show. I think I'm done taking team totals with teams in really lopsided matchups. Because if there's ever a flat spot, it just seems to me that, look at last night, really good example. You guys know what the actual team total was for the Oilers? 4.5. Over 4.5 goals, right? As they're minus 600 favorites. It just seems to me that in these games where you have a massive favorite, it ends up being an under. And I got to go back and get the numbers from Ralph on this. But in games where it's like minus 250 or 300 or higher, it seems to me like the team that's the underdog barely scores and the favorite just hovers around that team total just to tease you. So these are the spots that I want to look at team totals. When I have a team that's in the minus 150 range, get rid of that minus 150 price tag and throw that on there. And hey, maybe I'll even staple the Panarin under Because Andy, you've mentioned before, I think when you take a team to win, but somebody on their team to do poorly, that's good for the odds, right?
Yeah, well, look at these team totals. Like you were talking about Edmonton. Go look at what Edmonton's doing on defense and with goaltending. I think people are when people are expecting Edmonton to win, they say, well, okay, well, they're going to win because they're going to score more goals than the other opponent. Yeah, but they don't have to put up 5 to score more goals. Look at some of these team totals for just their opponents. You could look at taking the unders on their opponents. 0 for the Blackhawks, 1-1 for Calgary and Columbus, only 2-2 for Seattle and Toronto, 1-2 for Montreal and Detroit, 1 for Chicago, 1 for Ottawa, 2 for Philadelphia, 2 for Anaheim. So you could look at the other team as a team total. And if you're looking at Edmonton, my gosh, you could do a same game parlay with like Edmonton to win and then the other team's team total over, or under like 3.5. Maybe get an inflated line on that. So there's multiple ways to look at team totals when you've got a team like Edmonton that is on a blistering hot streak. I cashed a player to not have a point on the Blackhawks. That was a no-brainer. Like, how many goals are they realistically going to score?
Nice.
1, maybe? And so then they score 0. It doesn't get much easier than that. So the Edmonton, the way to play Edmonton, at least in my opinion, is the lines are going to be so inflated on the overs. Like you said, 4.5. I mean, come on. Have they even scored that many? I don't think they've scored 5 in like their last 10 games. What they're doing is they're holding the other teams under. So take a look at the unders. I know nobody likes playing unders. I get it, but only
No,
winners.
yeah,
Only
and
long-term
Andy,
winners like to play unders.
and Andy, you make a good point, Andy, because you look at it, and the Oilers, they win last night. That's 15 games in a row they've won. Everyone always assumes the Edmonton Oilers, okay, they won another game. It must have been another big, 6-2 or 7-1 kind of win. Of those 15 games, 9 have gone under the total for them. It is unbelievable. They are playing with defense, and it's like you said. If you figure this Edmonton streak is going to continue on, yeah, you're either playing the full game unders or you're playing their opponents' team totals under. Right? No one likes unders, but it still pays the bills when they cash. Absolutely. So we're betters are conditioned to sometimes, especially novice or new betters are conditioned to like the favorites, like the overs, because they can't comprehend. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but the fact that sitting in front of a TV or at a bar watching a game and hoping that nothing happens. They can't do it, right? Prez talked about it. How do you watch an over? How do you watch an under? A game with an under? You really can't. It's tough. I went 2-1 yesterday in NHL. The one was the Tampa Bay under. The first time I checked the score, it was 2-1 at the end of the first period. I'm like, okay, this is why I can't watch the game. That was the only loss on the night for me. But it is such an impressive stat from the Edmonton Oilers because it is amazing what a coaching change will do, and that's had such a positive effect on this Oilers team.
And Carmine,
How is it not
Andy.
exciting to watch an under? Every time the puck hits the post of the crossbar, it's exciting. Every time the goalie makes an amazing save, it's exciting. Every time there's a 2-on-1 break and they blow it, it's exciting. Anytime there's a power play and they mess it up and the puck gets cleared, it's exciting. I don't understand how it's not exciting to watch an under. I think it's more tense to watch an under. I get way more excitement on watching an under than I do an over. That's just me.
UFC unders are exciting to watch. I'll say that. UFC unders are hilarious to watch because you're just especially if they start falling, like just trading punches like that's fun because you're hoping for some crazy stuff to go down. One tidbit as well, I know we're spending a lot of time, but it's good stuff here in this one, is that the goalie save props, Carm's done a good job of mentioning them this year. I haven't mentioned them enough, but I used to talk about them on our Prop It Up show. Last night, Peter Mrazek, his number was 29.5. He finished, I think, with 32 or 33 saves. you look at a lopsided matchup like that. Let's say that, people always look at shots on goal props against teams that give up a ton of shots, right? But what if every single guy on the team or all the good players get just 2 shots, or all the guys that they're over is 3.5 land on 3? How pissed are you if the other team's goalie makes 40 saves, but none of your shots on goal overs cash? So sometimes the way to go is just by saying that goalie is going to be peppered. Let's take a look at his. So just something worth mentioning. And I think that I'll start looking at those goalie props more in the future. And I love what you said there, Carmen, about the overs, though. My girlfriend, who her friend and her fiance made a parlay last weekend for football. It was 9-legger, not 1 under. It was a 9-legger. They cashed it for like $2,000, and I wanted to see what it was, and it was literally all overs on like alternate receptions, alternate yards. So not 1 under was made in that parlay. But Andy, curious what you have in this next one, man. Right, go ahead, Carm. One more.
I was going to say, we got to move along. I know we got to move along and stuff, but listen, I've got friends who I chat through on WhatsApp, different groups, and I have one friend, all he does, and he doesn't bet big, but all he does is bet Leafs overs. He loves overs or any other over. So the other night, he's like, he calls Samsonov Samsonite because he thinks he's luggage. He's like, Samsonite, gonna smash the over. I'm like, dude, be careful. He played really well in Seattle, and Winnipeg's not really an over team. And then the first period, it ends 0-0. He's raging, just the messages. Second period, still 0-0. He's raging in the chat. Third game ends 1-0 for the Leafs. And I just had to mute the chat. It's just people love overs. Sometimes you got to take the under. But let's get to this other game. Andy,
Man.
Florida, Pittsburgh. What do you got?
Let's do a same game parlay in this one. It's a day of parlays, and here we go on an under. Jake Gensel, under 1.5. Andrew, we talked about this one. This guy has gone under in 24 out of 30 games, gone under in 8 straight. And the Penguins are just not scoring too many goals, 12 goals in 5 games. They've got several games where they only score 2 goals. So in order for this to go over, he needs to be involved in both goals, and it's just not happening. It's really juiced. It's minus 238, but this is where we use our same game parlay. And I'll put him with Gustav Forsling over 1.5 shots on goal. That's minus 175. So you parlay these together and you get plus 112. So here's the deal with Forsling. I love these props that are 1.5 shots on goal. He had 0 shots on goal the last game. The last 6 times he's gone under 1.5 shots on goal, he went flying over the next game. And the Penguins allow 31 shots on goal on average. So makes sense for Forsling to come back after a game that he went under to take his over 1.5 shots on goal, take Gensel under 1.5 points, and parlay that for plus 112.
Great price on that one there, Andy. And hopefully you're not betting Gensel when he's wearing a different uniform in the future. I'm hoping he stays with the Penguins. But I saw some crazy numbers here, and it was a podcast I was watching called The Eye Test. And they were saying that William Nylander and Gensel have almost identical numbers, Carm. But guess who gets all the attention? Guess who gets all the love from the hockey world? Not Gensel. And this guy is a really, really strong player. Of course, he's maybe a little bit undershadowed by players like Crosby and Malkin and those guys. But Gensel is a great player. But again, just like Panarin, not that many multi-point games. Just gets his 1 point, like Andy's talking about, and he's satisfied with that one. Andy talked about the scoring there for this Pittsburgh team, and I agree. I'm actually going to look towards the under 6 in this one. At first, I didn't really know how I felt about the defensive core for this Pittsburgh Penguins team. Now, all of a sudden, from some of the reports I've read, they've run into a problem with their depth scoring. Their secondary scoring's not there. When it's not Crosby, when it's not Gensel, when it's not these top guys, they're not really getting bottom 6 production, which has really hurt them because in the past, that's always been a strong suit for this Pittsburgh Penguins team. Florida, it's unbelievable what Sam Reinhart is doing right now. It's crazy how many goals he's scoring. His next contract is going to be for millions and millions more than his current contract, which is great to see for him. Kachuk and those guys are playing well. But still, I believe the old-fashioned Florida style of hockey, the defensive game that they play, is kind of who they are. And they are getting decent goaltending. They've had some bumps in the road, but I think that if you showed me this game at the start of the season, I'd be giving out an over. But right now, with this Pittsburgh team at home, I believe a defensive game is due for them. So, and I hate saying that D word, but I like how they're playing defensively. Don't trust their offense. I'm going to go under 6 here. Carm, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't blame you. And yes, Sam Reinhart's having a great season for in his contract in his contract year. If you like him to score tonight, the lowest price I think I've seen was DK. He's got him at plus 130 for an anytime goal. There are some other sites where you can get a slightly higher price. And Florida's playing well. Who Andrew? Never take managerial advice coaching advice from me, because I was the guy last year who was saying all year long, this team just can't play for Paul Maurice. He just can't coach his team. He spent the whole season trying to get Florida to play his style of hockey, what he wanted to instill in that team, and they did during the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season, and they rode it right to the Stanley Cup Finals, where unfortunately injuries took their toll on that team, and they lose to the Vegas Golden Knights. But they have started this season, and they're quietly sitting in second place in the Eastern Conference. They were nowhere near that. They were at this time last year, they were probably in 10th or 11th, and they're second. I think 7 points back of the Boston Bruins right now in the standings. 6 straight road wins for them. They're playing extremely well. It's likely going to be Bobrovsky in the final 2 games for this team prior to the All-Star break. And you look at it, it's not Jari. Nedeljkovic, I believe, has been confirmed as the goalie tonight for Pittsburgh. They're 1-4 their last 5. Their scoring seems to have dried up a little bit. I don't think they've scored more than 3 goals in any of those losses. A couple twos in there as well too. When you get into a game with a team that plays as well defensively as the Florida Panthers do, it is tough when your scoring dries up, because you've got to look for guys, your secondary scoring, to come through. And if it's not coming through, it normally leads to another loss. Historically, you can look at it. Pittsburgh's held well over Florida, but those are past numbers going back 6, 7, 8 years. I tend to focus on the here and now with it, and the here and now says Florida's playing much better. Florida's first period for me, minus 120 on the 2-way money line. You could take it one step further and take them on the puck line, minus a half a goal, plus 175. Quick start for the Panthers here, and likely another win for them for 7 straight road wins.
Looks like Carm has plans for tonight on Friday. Only wants to watch 20 minutes of this one. First period play. No need for the full game. He's got somewhere to be tonight here on a Friday. I like those first period
Hallmark
plays,
channel,
though.
man. I'm going to watch the Hallmark channel with my wife. And by Hallmark, I mean she watches it. I'm on my laptop watching the games on my laptop and live betting. So whatever. It all works out in the end.
We've all been there.
Happy wife,
We've all
happy
been
life.
there.
Yeah.
We have a promo code that works for all 3 of us, and that code is Access7. We have been mentioning it all the time, but I will say between the 3 of us, we're covering all kinds of sports, guys. And starting today, I actually have NCAA hockey plays going out to clients. So that's just another round of plays you'll be getting if you're a client of mine. Carmine, Andy, so many different sports across the 3 of us. Access 7 takes $30 off a 7-day all sports, all access package, guys. Make sure to use that if you're looking for any plays. And we always recommend at least a minimum 3 or 7 days. You buy one play, that one misses, but the guy goes 3-1 on the day, you will not be happy. So make sure you take advantage of these packages. Access 7 will take $30 off a 7-day all sports package. Also, guys, while you're here, please hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel. It really does help us out. Carmine and I, we want to be able to tell Prez that we got more likes on our show than he did on his show. All right. It's a competitive nature. So we need you guys to have our back. and run up those likes for us. Let's jump into the last game here. We've got the LA Kings that just continue to struggle here, Carm. Are you betting against them, or is this a time to just maybe jump on them as an underdog?
It's like the Van Halen song. Is it Van Halen? Might as well jump. We're done jumping. Listen, you guys are going to think I'm crazy. Some of you guys thought I was an absolute nut. I think most of you guys think I'm crazy, but some guys thought I was an absolute nut taking the under in the Philadelphia and Detroit game. There's one guy in our not our live chat, in the comments on the video afterwards. Every once in a while, he will post in there, I love fading Carmine, his player props for his plays. I'm fading you tonight. I am taking the Flyers. I am taking the over. And I replied to him later, my thoughts and prayers go out to your 0-2 night tonight because you lost both of those. But we'll see you tomorrow, and I wish you the best of luck. I never want to see anybody lose. But when you troll me, I'm going to give you a little bit of it back. With that said, Andrew, I'm nuts here, but I'm taking the Kings. Listen, what's not to love about the Kings? They're 3-12 their last 15. Yes, 3-12 their last 15. But they somehow find a way of beating some good teams. They beat the New York Rangers. They beat the Carolina Hurricanes. And you look at Colorado, they came back from a 5-game East Coast trip. They beat the Caps 6-2. And I know this might sound as like a stretch, guys, but I'm going to dissect the Colorado games on the road trip. They beat the Flyers, who we know are struggling immensely right now. 4 straight losses. They are absolutely limping into the All-Star break. They beat the Ottawa Senators, who pretty much everyone beats the Ottawa Senators this season. They come back and score 5 straight against the Leafs. The Leafs blow that one. The only quality team. They lose to Montreal and they lose to Boston. Boston's a very good team that plays very good defensive game. The Kings can play a very good defensive game. That's why they were one of the top 3 teams in the West defensively, but they just continue to struggle. They need to get their scoring. So it is a stretch, but I am taking the plus money with the LA Kings tonight to beat the Colorado Avalanche. I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow I wake up and I see it was like 7-0 Colorado and I was completely wrong, which is why I'm saying, but it is a stretch. It's similar to how I felt yesterday when I said I thought it was a bad spot for the Minnesota Wild at home, and I took Nashville for my clients. And and I gave that one out on the show as well too. We cashed that one. I'm going to try and cash this one, but I wouldn't blame you guys in the live chat for calling me absolutely nuts on this one. Mr. Lang, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, if you told me I would have heard a Van Halen reference on the hockey show today, I would have taken the under on that one. Wow, Van Halen might as well jump. Andrew, you've never heard of that one? Have you at least heard of Bon Jovi? Do you know Bon Jovi?
Of course, because of Rock Band. That's how I know about Bon Jovi.
All right. Well, the Kings are living on a prayer because they're not getting it done here. And let's go with Pierre-Luc Dubois will not have a point. He only has 1 point in the last 5 games. He has not had a point in 19 out of the last 26 games, and this is a Kings team that is just not scoring very many goals. 3 against Buffalo, 3 against San Jose. They only get 2 against the Rangers. Like, this is just not a team that is putting up many points. So when you have a team that's not putting up very many points, it's always a good idea to look at the players to not have a point. And that's one of the first things I look at is I don't, when I'm looking at players to not have a point, I'm not necessarily looking just at the players. I'm trying to look at teams who are struggling and teams who are not scoring a lot, and then I look at the players on those teams. So I think this Kings team is a really good to look at unders for their team total and for players to not have a point. So let's take Dubois to not have a point tonight.
Andy, you have no idea how funny that is that you said that, because last show on Wednesday with Carmen Prez, I literally ripped on him for 5 minutes, and then you take him not to get a point tonight. That's funny. Man, what a rough one he's having. It's crazy that I mean, the good news is he can only go up. I mean, he can't play any worse than he is right now. But like, he acted like last summer, like he was the free agent that everybody should want to have their hands on. Like, he acted like he was, the hottest ticket in town. Every team should want to have him. And the Kings traded a lot of stuff. I mean, that might go down as one of the worst trades we've seen in the last few years, but that all pans out to see what happens with these younger guys that went to Winnipeg. But anyway, I like that one quite a bit there, Andy. For me, guys, I'm going to actually rock with the over. So I think that if we get any life from the LA Kings, it's going to be with their goal scoring. I simply just don't trust their defense right now. That's the thing. I mean, whether or not they're able to find the back of the net, get some of their guys scoring again. I'm looking at some of the games they've played recently, giving up 5 to Buffalo, 4 to the San Jose Sharks. To me, this is a team that, they're getting called out by their coach, getting called out by their leaders, their captains, assistant captains. But is it their offense getting called out, or is it their defense? To me, I think defense takes a lot longer to fix than offense. Some people might disagree with that, but defense to me is one of those things where you could be putting in the effort, but you're just not in the right spots. You're not covering the right areas. You need practices to go over new defensive schemes. As far as offense, you can build that chemistry. This Colorado team, sure, they're great offensively, but they do play a very fast pace of hockey. And with that being said, that means they give up a lot of chances in their own end as well. They've been involved in some higher scoring games as well, coming off a 6-2, 7-4, 5-2, and 7-4 game. They've now seen, I believe, 5 or 6 straight overs. This Avalanche team at home, they're trying to compete with this Dallas Stars team, as Carmine always mentions there with that Dallas over. It just keeps on happening. And Nathan MacKinnon, guys, if you want a good player prop there, I mean, this guy to score a goal or have a point, I mean, whatever it might be, he is playing extremely well. But I also believe that with Val Nichushkin out, Mikko Rantanen and some of these guys, even Lehkonen could be a good bet for tonight. Of course, with Nichushkin out with the NHL Players Assistance Program, he's taken some time away from the team, which opens up opportunities and shots on goal and different opportunities for other players on Rado. But I'm going to go with just the over, guys. Let's hope for some goals. The LA Kings have tried their very hardest to win some low-scoring games, but even those they can't win. So after being called out by Drew Doughty, he said to the media, I think some guys in this locker room are more concerned about how many points they get than us winning. It's like, dude, your guys aren't even scoring anyway. Like, Andy's probably smiling hearing a quote like that. Like, they're more concerned about how many points they have. They're not even getting points in general. But I don't really trust Colorado's defense right now as much as I like their offense. So I'll rock with just the over in this one. Carm, last weekend, we recorded Puck Time Saturday edition. It went really well. The audience definitely liked it. So we are recording again this evening for Saturday's Puck Time edition. And I hope you guys all will check it out. It's not live. So a lot of you guys commented last week, disappointed you missed it live. Well, it was never live. It was a recording. So you wouldn't have been able to be there in general. But guys, check it out on Saturday with our Puck Time edition there. And maybe, let us know some different stuff you want to see us cover. Maybe we'll answer some questions on that show. But you have some games already selected for us for tomorrow, Carm. What do you have?
Listen, the 6-60, 4-2 last week. Man, it started great. 4-0 into the last couple of games. I thought we had a chance to go 6-0 with the 6-60, but alas, 2 losses. I'll take a 4-2 night with the 6-16. Let's see if we can better that at least by 1 on this one. Looking at the chat, we'll dedicate this one to a fellow Paisan, John Marchese. How's that? We'll dedicate this one to him. So if we don't have a winning record, just blame John in the chat on Monday. With that said, Dan, let's hit the clock. There we go. Philly and Boston, Flyers limping into the All-Star break. They won't play again until February the 6th. They're going to head into it on a 5-game losing streak. Let's take the Bruins money line here. Dallas and Washington. Stars 20-5 to the over at home. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Over 6.5 in this one. Edmonton and Nashville. 15 straight wins for the Oilers. 9 of those unders. I'm going to go under 6 or 6.5, whatever the number is. Dallas and Vegas. Wings streaking again, 7-2-1 for this team. Knights equally as good, but missing some bodies and on the second of a back-to-back tomorrow. So we'll take the Detroit money line. Minnesota and Anaheim, mini in regulation here. The Wild on their mini streak snapped last night. They're going to bounce right back here and win their last 2 games before the All-Star break. And then we're going to end it with the Islanders and Panthers, Florida money line. Not an ideal start so far for Patrick Waugh, and he gets a good Florida's team, another loss. That's your 6 and 60.
Well done. Well done, Carm. You got the picks out.
I wasn't even looking at the clock.
You got the picks out, but the outro is what screwed you there. Patrick Waugh, man. Tough schedule.
Patrick Waugh. Listen, it's going to take a while for maybe Patrick Waugh to make his stamp on this New York Islanders team. He may need a Gallagher elbow to the head or something to get him going, Andrew. But with that said, yeah, that was an ugly hit yesterday with the suspension coming. But I'm just going to review a couple of these ones. The Dallas-Washington game, I don't know what the over-under is going to be on it because they've been going over like crazy, but Washington isn't really a team that you see a lot of 6.5s with because of the way they play. But I still believe it's likely going to be 6.5 with some plus money on the over. And the Edmonton one, it's hard to believe an Edmonton total would be 6. You would think it would be 6.5, but I just have no clue if the books are going to make it 6 or 6.5. So that's why I mentioned both and mentioned that whether it's 6 or 6.5, I am still taking the under in it. That's pretty much it on the 6 and 60. Hopefully we can get it done, Andrew.
Hey, you've been on a good roll, man. And 4-2, don't discount yourself, man. 4-2, if you can get that every week, it's a really good number there. So obviously 6-0 is great, but I gotta say, ever since I saw this tweet about somebody making fun of how English-speaking people pronounce Patrick Waugh, saying it's the lazy way for not rolling the R. I'm sorry, I'm Canadian. I took French classes for a short period of time. I don't know how to roll that Patrick Waugh. I don't know how to say his name. Okay, it's Waugh to me. All right. So for all of you guys out there that know how to speak French, I'm sorry that. Yeah, they don't want to hear us say Waugh. They want to hear the I don't know what it is. I'm not even going to try, but it's a hard language to learn.
Okay? Pat Roy. His name is Pat. Yeah, for Pat English Roy. People, his name is Pat Roy. That's his name. If you gave someone his last name to someone and said, "This is your first name," they wouldn't be like, "Nice to meet you, Waugh." They would say, "Hey, Roy, nice to meet you." It's this is what happens when you have a French province within your nation. Certain words are pronounced differently, Andrew. It's just the way it is. But you're a Montreal fan, so I'm not going to argue with you on that. But Andy, tell us what you have up at WagerTalk for this weekend, and let's give us a show best bet. You're muted.
We got an NHL best bet that's up for today. We're over 65% on plays for the season. 20-8 run, cashed one last night. So encourage everyone to go grab that one. We're just going to be low volume this weekend. The golf tournament's over tomorrow, and we'll probably have an NFL play, but it's really just kind of keeping it quality over quantity. So I just encourage everyone to go grab that NHL play that's up at WagerTalk.com. We're having a absolutely hellacious monster year in NHL. I'm going to go back to a parlay that I like for today, and we've kind of touched on both of these pieces, but I'm going to take Sam Reinhart will have a point point in 11 straight games, 23 out of 30. What more needs to be said about Reinhart? He's having an unbelievable season. Penguins have given up 3 or more goals in 4 out of their last 5 games. And I will parlay that with the Avalanche to have over 2.5 team total. And that gets me to plus 115. The Avalanche have scored over 2.5 in 11 out of 12 games. The only game they went under, they scored 2 goals. That was against Boston. The Kings have given up 9 goals the last 2 games. So give me Reinhart will have a point. I'll parlay that with the Avalanche over 2.5, and that gets me to plus 115 as my best bet.
Great price on that one, Andy. Keep it rolling, man. That winning clip is unbelievable. Love seeing it, and whether some people like Carm and myself think it's fun or not, cheering on guys' downfall, you keep doing your thing, man. Just keep praying on their downfall. Keep praying on guys to have bad nights. It's working out really well for you. So the under on point props for Andy have been really successful. Carm, what do you have going this weekend, man?
And listen, Andy, monster season last year, monster season this year, and this is probably why that guy from LSU made so much money. He turned like 100K into like 500K. So if he can do it, you guys can do it. Just follow Andy by his season-long package. Andrew, 2 plays up in the NHL tonight. Huge NFL weekend, of course, with the conference championships. I have 1 play and 3 props, all in the same package. You can get those. I'm going to look to continue and finish off the year number 1 at WagerTalk in the NFL. And I'm confident of it. I'm going to have a 5% play up in the NHL tomorrow as well, too. So pick up the 3-day all access and get all of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday's plays. That play will be up a little later this evening, just waiting for the openers to come out as well, too. And then we'll have a few soccer plays going as well. So a lot of action through 3 different sports, and you can get them all on a 3-day all access package. My show best bet is going to be the game we discussed, the Florida Panthers. Listen, they're just playing so well right now. It is tough to get in front of a team that's playing this well, both offensively and defensively, and 6 straight road wins. I know it's always tough to go into Pittsburgh, but this Penguins team is struggling to score goals right now. And I actually think that 3 might be enough for the Panthers tonight. 4 should definitely be enough for them to get the win tonight. So Florida Panthers minus 135, your show best bet. And the best weekend to all of you guys in our chat, man. We actually love you guys tuning in each and every day. Hit that like button, please.
Great stuff, Carm. Wishing you a great weekend, and I'll see you later on as we record the Saturday Puck Time show as well. For me, a big play up this weekend. It's a prop bet in the NFL 5-1 NFL prop run. Also got some NHL plays already in mind for tomorrow's Saturday slate. Just 1 play so far. That's going to be loaded after the show in the NHL for tonight. That promo code ACCESS7, guys, $30 off a 7-day all sports pass. You're going to get every single play I release across all sports. So definitely, if you're interested in some of my plays, use that promo code to save $30 on a 7-day pass. Going to go back to the New York game here, over 3.5 team total at plus 115 for the Rangers, off a very disappointing West Coast road trip, off a game where they lost and gave up 3 unanswered goals against the San Jose Sharks. This will be a motivated New York Rangers team taking on a Vegas Golden Knights team that's lost 8 of their last 9 road games. Their defense has not been playing that well. Goaltending's been shaky. I believe it's a big night tonight for the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden. That is my best bet here for the show. Always a fun Friday show. We can tell it's Friday here on Puck Time. Great to have Andy along with us. Always a great time with my co-host Carmine. Shout out to our guy Dan behind the scenes, also doing NFL videos with Eric Pauly. Make sure you watch his videos. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you on Monday right here on Puck Time.